What's up, weirdos? Weirdos? I can't even say weirdos. Imagine being that stupid. Hey! What you guys doing? Get off my porch. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. I know it sucks. It's Monday. I'm sorry that I'm the one that had to tell you that. It's good to see you. I got some family over. I figured we go live on the chatting I don't know, this channel rather than the gaming channel. I also wasn't interested to play games tonight. I don't know. I'm not gonna go live and play games and do some shit that I don't feel like doing, you know? Can we get a welfare check on the cat? No, and on an unrelated note, we had some stir fry. I did find the key that the cat broke, though. Thoughts on Jackson Hinkle? No. I don't have any thought. I try not to allow that individual to take up any space in my brain whatsoever. Why is the pistol grip on the hot potato launcher so dangerous? Does it injure your hands? Yeah, it does. Absolutely. So the spring that's inside of that is under so much tension that if you take that apart in the wrong way and it flies out, it'll fuck you up. Like bad. Like really, really bad. So the course specifically that I'm talking about is the Special Operations Foreign and Non-Standard Armorers course. That is the course where effectively the 18 Bravos of the world, the weapons guys, learn how to manage and maintain their foreign weapons stocks. Don't ask me how, but I got a seat in that class, and I took that alongside those Bravos, and essentially became certified to maintain and fix the RPG, the G3, the Uzi, the AK, RPK, the Makarov, the TT, bunch of foreign weapons. Ironically, the 45, like the 1911, was one of them. But yeah. Boxing match this weekend. Thoughts? Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts, man, on Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou. I watched it. Yeah, I think Tyson won still, but in the way that he won the match but lost the fight. Like if that fight were out in the backyard, inside of a ring of trucks with their headlights pointed to the center, Francis Ngannou won that fight. But in the rules of boxing, Tyson won behind his sloppy-ass jab. I'm a fan of Tyson Fury, too, right? I am absolutely a fan of Tyson Fury. But he lost that fight and won the match, if that makes sense. Field Strip King, actually, more or less. Like, when I signed up for the course, for the soft knot course, I was like, this could be awesome. I'm going to get to shoot all these guns. Didn't fire a single one of them. It was all gauging, like the gauging on the PKM. We did the Dishka, Anyway, I got the certificate. So, by technicality. You know what I mean? Fury is more consistent. Ngannou had bigger hits. Sure. Yeah. Jab was lightning fast, though. Dude, when they first came out and had that initial exchange, I was like, holy fuck, Ngannou looks great. Normally, when you see MMA guys come out, MMA boxers fight so much differently than traditional pugilists, like your traditional boxing. It's a little bit more of a square stance. You're ready for takedowns at any time. A little bit more of an athletic position that you're in. Boxers stand so much differently, and even though Ngannou still, you could tell that he's still he used a really long guard. He looked fantastic right out of the gate, and I tweeted it right away. I was like, "Bro, what is going on here?" And I'm sure everybody's tracking this at this point, but you have to respect a man that literally holds the Guinness World Record for the heaviest punch. I don't know what the car is. It the Ford Escort? Basically, it registers the same amount of force as a Ford Escort going full speed. Imagine getting hit by that. Definitely a few times I thought that fight was going to the ground. I bet you if it goes 12 rounds, Ngannou knocks him out. I can almost guarantee that. I still think Tyson won the match. Ngannou wins that fight, but Tyson won the match behind the jab. Absolutely. That guy, thanks for the $2, man. Malcolm, thank you for the $5, sir. I don't even know what Bustelo is. I don't even know what that is. The knockdown really surprised me. Can't lie. I came up out of my seat, dude. Yeah. Yeah. You don't, the MMA crossover stuff, you don't really see that, right? I think McGregor held his own against Floyd. I saw Floyd brawl more in that fight than I'm used to seeing Floyd when he fights. You know, Floyd fights behind his shoulder, counterpuncher, but he brawled with McGregor at times. That will go down. The Ngannou Fury fight will go down as one of my favorites I've ever watched. Ford at 50 kilometers an hour, not full. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Going 45, 50 miles an hour. Yeah, okay. I stand corrected. As a dude who doesn't watch fights, I genuinely thought you meant Mike Tyson. I was like, that guy's still going? Well, he just fought Roy Jones, didn't he? Like last year, the year before? Technically, he's still going, and he trained Ngannou. You know, Tyson Fury is named after Mike Tyson, so that's always an interesting one. It was a fun match. Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it very much. I am still a fan of traditional boxing. It's one of my favorite things to watch. You know, I love watching MMA as well. I like the strategy behind MMA, but traditional boxing is something I've always loved. Ronnie was my daddy till he shaved that beard. I've got to shave again for this weekend, dude. Getting tired of that shit. Mike looked great, to be honest. When he fought Roy Jones, yeah, Roy Jones is my favorite fighter. So, you know, watching him fight in his twilight is a little tough. You know, it's a double-edged sword. So from one perspective, you know, he was my favorite fighter growing up. I grew up watching him, you know, just clown on dudes. It's kind of like watching Lukashenko fight now. You know, he's just kind of doing whatever the hell he wants out there. Watching him now is like, hell yeah, he's still getting after it. But it's also watching him, you know, well beyond his, what I remember Roy Jones being, you know. Do you carry? If so, what's your go-to concealed carry weapon? I do. Yeah, I have multiple. It depends on what I'm wearing, to be honest with you. Both are iterations of Glocks. I have a Shadow Systems MR920, which is basically a prettied up Glock 19. And then I have a G48, which is the slim size of the G43 that everybody loves, but a little bit longer slide, so you get that longer sight radius, and I think it shoots better. It definitely shoots better. So if you're looking at like a G43 or something, G43X, what have you, take a look at the G48. It's just that much more on the gun. So much better. Definitely. I want a P365 Legion. That would be my primary go-to. Do you have any Canics? I have a TP9 Elite Combat. Yeah. You should play Direct Contact, maybe over on the gaming channel. Thanks for the 5, dude. This is Guy Talk. Thanks. Well, thanks for swinging by, Princess. Yeah, we're having guy time. Now, the real Guy Talk is when I eat this banana. I actually meant to eat it like right between the streams, but forgot and went live. And I don't know if I want to eat the banana on this. I don't think I want to eat the banana. Ngannou fits it into box any heavyweight now. Yeah, I'd like to see him fight Wilder. I like that fight. You know, I don't want to see a Tyson Fury rematch. I did note that Usyk, their fight got kicked back to next year rather than December 23rd. Eat it with a spoon. Hey Gideon, I see you. Nice. God, geez, that's why I don't want to eat the banana. I have a P320. Yeah, actually the gun on the wall that's my comp gun, and it's actually not even a competition gun. It is. It's kind of a barrier between like a tactical gun and a competition gun. The rule that I have for any weapon system that I compete with is it has to have the dual purpose of being like duty grade as well as, you know, meet my needs for competition. So the black rifle that's up there, that's the DDM4 SLW, the lightweight DDM4. That was my primary competition gun, but I let Funker use that one for the last competition. And then the one up top is, you know, kind of like a spare. My main squeeze is actually back behind the Funker thing. And then on the far right over there is a P320 DH3. So it's a Daniel Horner edition P320. It's got lightning cuts on the slide. It comes with 2 recoil springs. I have the lighter recoil spring in there, which I like very much, especially with match grade ammo. Eye contact or no? If I eat that banana, I'm going to make eye contact the whole time. Yeah, you're not going to be able to do anything about it either. You can leave. That's up to you. I love Tyson Fury, but honestly, I think he lost, man. No, I mean, the stats don't lie. He landed more. He did. Which, again, that's where it was very close. Whoever Judge 2 was drunk on the job. Like, what did he say? Like 96, 94 or something? Like, you are high, dude. The other judges were like, what, 94, 93 or 94, 95. That's closer, but I think Tyson's still, I think he won, but again, he won the match, not the fight. I've always looked at it, again, like if we were all outside in a circle and like these 2 dudes were going at it, Ngannou won that fight. He won the street fight there. 100%. The 96, 93 judge was on, yeah, he's high, dude. Yeah, he's out of his damn mind. He's out there sleeping on the job. That's what it was. I don't know. And a foot cam? Well, yeah, I have a foot cam. It's back there. Well, I call it a booty cam, but whatever. I set up the cat thing to get a kitty cam. I even have like a special thing here for it, but the cats don't come in here. Maybe it's because I threatened to cook them when they knock over my stuff. Does anyone use the master key attachment anymore? I don't know. I don't have one. I have an underbarrel flamethrower. I also have a standalone flamethrower, but I have an underbarrel flamethrower that I prefer. What's Ronnie's PC stats? So this has a 3090 and a 9900K in it with 64 gigs of RAM. And then the stream PC, which you guys can see there, also has a 3090 in it, but it's kind of a backup 3090. I only had to pay like half price for it because somebody was getting rid of it, or I don't remember exactly how I got it, but I barely paid anything for it. And then it's an air-cooled Ryzen CPU. I just don't remember exactly which 5700X maybe. I'm not sure. Get you some potassium. I'll eat the banana after the stream. It's fine. 3090. Damn, you'd be surprised how little of a flex that is. Like, it's not that good. The 24 gigs of RAM are on both sides. Like, they split the card with the RAM. So on the bottom memory of that, what is it, DDR4, or whatever the memory is on the GPU itself. The bottom memory stays cool, but the top memory overheats and then it thermal throttles. The 3080 Ti is a much better card. It's so much better card. Yep. Much, much better. You let Funker borrow your gun explains a lot about his results. I kitted that dude out, man. I couldn't have given him a better kit. And he still got beat. But he also, as a Canadian without any experience, came all the way down here for that competition and beat, 70% of the competition? That's pretty dope. 3090 in 2 years. Yeah. The 3090 is not a flex at all. Did you build it? Yeah. Yeah, I've built all of mine. I'm waiting for the 5090. Damn, borrow a kit? Well, he doesn't have a kit. Like, he can't have half of that shit in Canada. It's because he's Canadian? Yeah. Yeah, he can't have any of that stuff. That flamethrower is legal in Canada, at least. Are you the same guy that does war coverage? Yes. Yeah, that's me. We're here hanging out drinking beer, though. This is like I don't even know what this is. What is this? Like chatting? Like there's a just chatting category on Twitch. I don't think there is on YouTube. I don't even know what this is. It's just us hanging out. You like 6.5 Creedmoor? Yeah. Yeah, I've had a Bergera B14 HMR along with a PST, a Viper PST Gen 2 in my cart at Euro Optic for like 2 weeks now. Like the old Tarkov days, bringing kits and shit. Yeah. Did you give him stims too? I brought him Propital. Yeah, definitely. That guy, thank you for the 5. Shopping hint for bodybuilders. Light salt is loaded with potassium chloride, which the body's own chem lab liberates. I don't even understand what that means. Southern Maverick, thanks for hitting the member button, man.
Outstanding.
I love my 6.5. Yes, I really want to. So the reason I have it in the cart is, one, I'm a lefty and my current bolt gun is a right-handed bolt gun, and I want to get into PRS. If I was just bench shooting, you know, somewhere, there's nothing wrong with me, you know, running the bolt with my right hand. I don't have any problem with that. I've been doing it my whole life. But in PRS, I've talked to a lot of folks, you know, guys like Tony Cowden. You know, if you know who Tony Cowden is, he is a very avid PRS shooter. You know, also ran for Congress in like South Carolina. Anyway, former 18 series guy. He was like, you got to get a left-handed gun. And I was like, I don't understand though, because it doesn't feel like I come off target running the bolt with my right hand. He was like, you do. Next time you're on the bench, you know, run a PRS bag underneath of your arm, and look, when you go to cycle the bolt, do your best to maintain your sight picture. And he's right. So I borrowed a buddy's left-handed gun. It was, you know, I don't know, some like 22-250 or something. And it's so much better. You know, for you righties don't understand. They're just like, well, you should be fine. Like, you've been operating a right-handed gun your whole life. You're fine. But those fractions of a second coming off of your sight picture, off of target, and getting back onto target, those are what are going to matter in competition. Is the 4090 worth it? Probably. Yeah. Any plans on going with the 4090? No, not really, because I'm fiscally irresponsible, and any extra money I do have goes towards my gun habit. Also, I'm gun poor at this point. You know, for a long time, most of the stuff that you guys see, I had like 4 jobs. Right, I was working in corporate America whilst also doing all the Funker work, and then I left corporate America to do the Funker work full time. And we're just in a different financial situation now than we used to be. And you know, it's much more. Things are much more planned than just kind of willy nilly making those decisions. Need a proper CPU with 4090 here. Means if you use it for salt, you get all the potassium you need, i.e. a goodbye banana. I like bananas, though, that guy. I like bananas very much. Mild brain fart. Did I have a brain fart? What did I do? Oh. Where do I email Steam keys for you and your team? You can message them to me on Discord. Or send them to admin@Funker530. Yeah, send them there. Admin@Funker530. Looking to get a Remington 700. I have one. I have a Remington 700 SPS Tactical in 308 with a 20-inch. It's got the 20-inch heavy barrel and the Hogue stock. It's a good little gun. You know, I've taken it out to not very far. I've taken it out to like 600-700. But I got it, you know, over a decade ago at this point. Before I ever really had plans to compete. I was real fat back then too, you know. I just wanted to shoot from a bench. What do you think matters more, being right-handed or left-handed versus right-eye dominant, left-eye dominant? The eye dominance matters more, I think. What's your favorite gun you own? Ooh, that's easy. That's the Geisley. Yeah, that's my Geisley. I have a video on this channel of me going through my Geisley top to bottom. I've made a couple small changes to it since then. Primarily the optic. The optic that I had on the video when I did that video is the one that's up there, which is an HHS I've got I don't remember which HHS it is. I remember both of the individuals, but it's a G45 magnifier, which is a 5X, and then you have a EXPS 3.4, both EOTech. That's the optic that I had on the Geisley when I did that video. Now it has basically the optic that was on that gun, which is my competition optic, Razor HD Gen 2 1:6 with a piggyback mounted Hollow Sun 508T. I'm lefty too. How do you like brass projecting in your form? You know, I with ARs, I've never had that problem. You know, it never really bothered me all that much. I like don't even notice it really. They have a 50% off Blem sale. What? Where? Like on their store? I want that. Hold on. Where's that at? Are the... Yes, I'm 18 years or older. Are the uppers a part of that Blem sale? Because I am in the market for 11.5 for an 11.5 upper. Ah, fuck. No. Of course not. Blems. Wait. Blems. Ronald, can you fire the bazooka? No, it's already been fired once. So it's an AT4. So since it's been fired once, it can't be fired again. I think they're all sold out of all the good shit. All the stuff that I need. It's all good shit. I'm a fan of Geisley. Anyway. Wrong button. Yeah, I was just poking around in there, Battle Chemist. SSA triggers were $120. I need to put one in the Daniel. The SSAE is... I didn't have one in a gun until I got the Geisley, until I got the Super Duty, and it changed my life. And now when I shoot the Daniel Defense, it's not the same. It's just I don't like shooting it. I don't take it out anymore. It's a great gun. Do you play the guitar that's in the background? I can. It's just not very good anymore. Stop looking. I can't help it, man. I'm a Windows shopper. 100% a Windows shopper. I have like full carts on so many different, online stores. It's kind of ridiculous. Ron, tell us a crap your pants military experience. Yeah, sure. So we had a Bolo. A Bolo is be on the lookout. Well, first of all, my first deployment, I had two jobs. My primary function, my first deployment was managing the campaign plan for transitioning logistics from Afghans or from us back to the Afghans. So for a little while, we were doing, whether it was A&A or A&P, it didn't matter. We were doing their logistics, right? Like all of their beans, bullets, all that shit. We were doing it. So by 2013, we were trying to transition that back to them. So my primary job, my first deployment, was actually managing the campaign plan that had like the milestones and, sub-milestones for us to be able to say, okay, we've officially transitioned this back to you. My secondary duty was as a driver. So we were driving these up-armored Land Cruisers. I used to say Forerunner, but they were Land Cruisers. They were stick shift. They're super piece of shit. Vehicles, right? Like stick shift with an extra 2,000 pounds of weight with stock clutches, stock brakes. If you got stuck on a hill, you had to dump the clutch to get it moving. Terrifying to drive it in traffic. Well, we were sitting in traffic one day, right? And before you'd go out on any mission, you'd get the BOLO list. Be on the lookout if there was anything. In Iraq, one of the big problems that they had were the jingle trucks, right? So the jingle trucks with all the jingly shit on the side of it. In Kabul, in Afghanistan, we had a big problem with water trucks. And a water truck had been stolen. You had black water trucks and gray water trucks. The black water trucks dealt with sewage. The gray water trucks dealt with the water. These are all local nationals driving these water trucks around. dealt with the gray water, like, sink water or stuff like that that doesn't have feces and stuff in it. So there was a gray water truck that had gone missing, right? And I don't remember what the indicator specifically was. You'll recognize this truck by this, whether it could have been the license plate or, maybe some markings on the truck. But the bolo stated specifically that it was stolen to then be loaded down with explosives and used as a V-bid. Well, we're sitting in traffic, and this fucking thing rolls up next to us with the exact indicator that I remember being on that bolo list. It was like clear as day, and I looked at my TC and I was like, "Do you see that truck?" And his name's Mike. Like, yes. So we called it up, and we basically just waited. Because we're there in these non-tactical vehicles with the big Duke system sitting out of the top of it, right? And these are huge water trucks. So whatever they're loaded down with is going to disintegrate you. Right before I got into country, my first deployment, Task Force Guam got hit with a 2,000-pound V-bid, which is who we replaced. And it just disintegrated their non-tactical vehicles. Well, either that day or a couple days later, this would have been 2013, so we're over a decade ago at this point. It blew up at the new Kabul compound, which was a new compound being built. I was at Camp Eggers, and NKC was getting stood up, and that truck blew up at NKC. But we were just sitting there, two NTV convoy, with 8 dudes total. It would have disintegrated us. I remember looking at that thing. People say that like you think about like your family and stuff. I remember looking at it and just going, fuck. You kind of just, it's like you come to terms with it. Now, that was just an experience that I had, which is, I'm very lucky. So the routes that we were always on either got hit before or after we were on them. Like we had chalks that would go out before us, they'd get hit, and we'd have chalks after me that would get hit. Not everybody's that lucky. Even my second deployment, on the leaflet drops that we went on, a couple of our birds had to pop flares and, peel out. Stuff just got lucky. But I was out quite a bit. On-ground logistics with Afghans was absolutely hilarious. We gave them fucking computers to manage their manage their logistics and stuff. And we went back, and there was porn all over them. So it was a V-bid. That's what the most of us believe. Again, I don't remember what the indicator was that we were looking for specific to that truck. But when that vehicle rolled up to us, it was like an intersection. There's a lot of roundabouts, and I actually have a lot of footage of driving around Afghanistan. But not a lot of it does a whole lot of justice of how much like the Wild West it is. Like there's no stoplights anywhere. There were a couple stoplights, but they were turned off. It's pandemonium driving around in Afghanistan. Especially early on in the deployment, we were allowed to do basic, defensive driving techniques and offensive driving, things like blocking maneuvers. And we were just gangster all the way through it. We'd barrel into the roundabouts, set up a blocking position while the rest of the vehicles went, and we'd roll out. By the end of the deployment, which was only like a 7-month deployment, they were like, you can't do that anymore. If there's traffic, you sit in traffic. So this was around about that time, and we were just sitting there, and that water truck rolled up, and again, it was either the license plate or maybe some markings on it or something. Water truck blew up at NKC, 24, 48 hours later. What got me about the Middle East was the traffic circles. Yeah. So my town just installed like a couple traffic circles, and watching people go through the gymnastics of navigating traffic circles is hilarious to me. It is one of the funniest things to watch in the world. They're not complicated. But these are like little mini traffic circles. I mean, these traffic circles are fucking huge in Afghanistan. Like massive traffic circles that necessitate basically elite Frogger experience to make your way through them. Most of the time when they took water trucks and water buffaloes, they were going to make V-bits. Yeah. Actually, the Task Force Guam that got hit right before us, this is like a Googleable incident. So their story sucks. You know, they were awesome dudes, but they were providing primary security. It was a joint assignment. So we were DCOM SPO, DCOM-SPO. Would have been 2013. Task Force Guam was providing security for the Australian general that was assigned over top of DCOM SPO. And what they would do is they were taking the same route every day at the same times every day for all of their missions. Same route, same time. One day they called it up and they were like, hey, at least this is a story that was told when we got there. They called it up and they were like, hey, there's no traffic. Mind you, again, it's the fucking Wild West. We're driving. If you're white knuckling in like American traffic, you'd shit yourself. I'm serious. It's wild to drive in Afghanistan. But they called it up and they're like, hey, there's no traffic today. Like, there's no cars on the road. And a 2K V-bid just smashed into the side of one of their vehicles. I don't remember which type of NTV, non-tactical vehicle it was, but it would have been their Land Cruiser, an F-150, or like an Explorer or Expedition. So we had up-armored versions of all of those vehicles. And it just disintegrated it. But it happened right in front of NKC. And what happened after that is all the ammunition started cooking off inside of it. The Afghans, the local nationals that were manning the wall at NKC thought they were taking contact from the convoy. So they started firing on the American convoy. It just turned into a nightmare of a situation. So that happened like the week that I got there or the week prior to me getting there. The day that I got to Afghanistan the second time, so when I was deploying with Ranger, we sat on the tarmac, sitting in the back of a C-17 in our hammocks, because that's kind of how you go into theater with them, is you string hammocks between the wall and like the cargo. Like when I deployed Green Weenie style, it was very like we flew commercial. You know, there was like service. But when I deployed with the Ranger Regiment, we were in the back of a C-17 with hammocks strung from like the cargo to the wall. And you had to piss out of a hole in the back of the C-17. Like, I asked where the bathroom was, and they were like, well, there's a hole in the plane in the back that you can pee out of. And I was like, what are you talking about? They're like, there's literally a fucking hole that you put your pee into and you pee out the plane. Anyway. But we sat on the tarmac for hours. We were like, what the fuck is going on here? You know, we are headed to like we're here. We need to start our RIP process. You know, we need to replace the team that we have here. Well, it turns out that one of the Taliban dickheads around Bagram that they were working through this reintegration. There were all kinds of programs to reintegrate Taliban with like the local nationals that would come on, you know, and I don't know what the process was to enroll these guys into that, but I imagine it probably wasn't difficult. Well, over time, he continuously brought in piece by piece everything that he needed for an SVES. This is also Googleable. That would have been 2016. So November 2016. Well, the day that we arrived, right outside of the main DFAC on Disney, which is the main drag on Bagram, he detonated an SVES right outside of the chow hall. Again, I just got lucky, you know. How did the females pee out the C-17 in? There's the bathroom, but they wouldn't let us use it. They could use it. They could use the actual potty. What's up, Jumbo? We had a dump truck V-bid to lead about 2 blocks plus several. Yeah, oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, so Camp Eggers, I wonder if I can still find Camp Eggers on a map. Because it's really just, it's like high-end housing. Let's see if we can go to Google Earth. I think it's on Google Maps. Camp Eggers, Afghanistan. It was like high-end housing that we had converted to like a little base. I think Department of State took it over eventually, and then of course it all got handed back. Camp Eggers, Afghanistan. There was also a really funny night where I was a part of the security team, right? So each fob or each base has like a, I don't know, you grab all the pogues and you're like, hey, will you be a part of the internal security cordon while, you know, the actual security force manages the external cordon. So I was a part of the internal security cordon. Well, one day we were all sitting around, and our OIC, her name is Colonel Wilkins, comes in. She's like, hey guys, there's fireworks going off outside. And we were like, what? Fuck do you mean there's fireworks going off outside? They don't have fireworks. Well, we come outside and the whole sky is like tracer fire. So everybody panics, you know, that they're going to be coming over the walls. Well, it turns out Afghanistan had just beaten somebody in like the World Cup. You know, all of Kabul is just, you know, sending mag after mag of tracers into the sky because they had just beaten somebody in the World Cup. Camp Eggers has a Wikipedia page, but I can't find it. I can't find an easy access link on the map. I'm sure I could find it if I spent enough time in Google Earth. But anyway. Ain't no fireworks. They weren't fireworks. It was just snaps. Now, some of them, you could hear the snaps on some of them. Like they were getting a little weird with it, but more or less, it was like the BDOC or whatever. I think it was the BDOC. They came back over the radio and they were like, no, they're just celebrating the win of the soccer team. And I was like, well, I think I'll just continue standing here at in scan. If you'll have the opportunity to fight for the Israeli side, will you take the opportunity? My preference would be to not fight for anybody's side other than the American side. Richard, thanks for hitting the member button, dude.
Outstanding.
Yeah, I got lucky. You know, plenty of missions. By my second deployment, I missed the first deployment. I missed it very much. Like there's a smell, there's the food. You know, I've never been sicker in my life than eating, you know, Afghan food off the side of a road, but I've also, from a certain perspective, never had better food. These locals one of the reasons I had to drive is in the process of transitioning logistics back, we actually have to go to like the local like logistics hubs all throughout the city and in the outskirts of the city. And when we would go to each of those locations, they would cook for us. My God, that's some of the best fucking food. The one time I got really sick though, like I got really sick because I was pulling security for a humanitarian mission. We were dropping off school supplies for some school like way up in the northeast or northwest. It was really far away, so we actually had to take MRAPs, not our NTVs. But I was pulling security for that, and they were like, "Hey, we want to give you some kebab, you know, our favorite kebab place." And we were like, "Fuck yeah, I'm hungry. I've been eating like onions and peanut butter so that I don't have to eat MREs." Well, I wolfed mine down, and then one of my friends, he was like, "I don't want mine." I was like, "You're crazy. That's the best food ever." And I scarfed his down. Well, a couple days later, I was watching AFN, the Armed Forces Network, at 3 a.m. because it was going to be a Redskins versus Eagles game, and I'm on the phone with my wife. Right? They had a phone that you could like call home. I'm on the phone with her watching AFN, about to watch, you know, the Redskins slap the Eagles around. Probably didn't happen. I actually think that was like 50-3 or something. And I was like, babe, I gotta go. I hung up right away, and I didn't hold down anything for a week. After that, I got real fucked up. I love the pita bread lamb. That's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was. Yeah, I held nothing down for a week. get a good taste of lamb over there. It was good. It was really good. But now I've been told that if I had gone back to that same place and eaten it again, that I'd be fine. Because I guess it's got to do with like the bacteria that my stomach is used to versus the bacteria that, their stomachs are used to. But yeah. There was one location though that made the best cup of coffee I've ever had, and I would always ask to be on that mission. Like, can I go? It was so good. Ever consider contract security? I've done that before. Yeah, it's one of my first jobs. We had Afghan boys bring it to use on convoy. What? Best weight loss. I was very fat at that time too, so I did lose weight. That would have been like 2013. So I lost weight to get assigned to it. I was about 260, and I lost about 20 pounds to just get to go on the deployment. And then while I was there, I lost a bunch of extra weight, but then put it back on when I got home. When I was going through selection for the second deployment was when they told me, they were like, from an aptitude perspective, flying colors, but from a physical perspective, if for whatever reason, you have to do anything with us, you are not going to survive. So in order to go on this deployment, you need to lose a lot of weight. I lost like 60 pounds, felt like overnight. And it probably wasn't 60, it was probably, 30 or 40. But then I lost another 30 or 40 when I was in Afghanistan, just working out with them. Like, that's all you have to do is you're either on mission, you're working, you're eating, or you're working out. That's all there is to do. And I ended up getting all the way down to 155, 158, 155, something like that. But I looked anemic. 216 pounds, yeah. Oh, yeah. I love falafel. It's awesome. Microbiomes. I have a personal theory on the food. Not sure if it was good or if 3 months of MRE, random chow hall food, so bad. Our chow hall was good, man. So we had a separate chow hall from the rest of Bagram. Like, there was a chow hall on Camp Alpha where I was, and then there was also one at the I want to say it was like the Siege of Sodif compound, the Combined Joint Special Operations Task Force compound. They also had a really nice chow hall, but we could go to either of them, and it was separate from everybody else. And I mean, we ate good. Mid rats was amazing. I'd have like 5-egg omelet, real eggs. You eat good. They feed you because I mean. That's a morale thing, right? That's why all the nerds that were like, look, they're eating steak and lobster. That means they're going to go to war tomorrow. It's like, no, that just means that they're eating good, because it's a morale booster. All you have to do is work out, and eat. That's it. That's all you're doing. Right here, you're like, I want to go to Staples. I don't even know if Staples fucking exists. But I want to go to Walmart, or I want to go to Target. You don't do that, right? So all you have to do is eat, work out, and work. That's it. You went from Ngannou's MMA weight to McGregor's. Yeah. I'm like 180 now. I'm 180 now, and I'm just as lean now as I was at 158-ish. So I'm somewhere around 10% body fat nowadays. I'd say between 10 and 11%. Mixing booze and soda will pack it on super quick. Oh yeah. 155 and 5'10". I was small, man. Very small. Like I have shirts now that do not fit me anymore. I had a similar situation in a way to losing weight to join. It was one of them big boys overweight before joining and had to sit in 100+ degree weather in a sealed up black car with a black trash bag. Yeah. A lot of water weight. Have you ever been in a war? If you count Afghanistan. And when I joined, I actually wasn't overweight. I played a lot of sports in high school. So I played lacrosse, football. I was also in our JROTC. There's a whole like breakdown of what I did and all that, even in high school and on my website. So I was in pretty good shape when I joined. By the time I actually left, I was pretty out of shape. By the time I got back from Huachuca, which is where my MOS school was, that's where AIT was, I was once again small. I was 150 or so. Very small, though. I'm 6 foot, 135 pounds, build houses and weight has no problem. Yeah, you got that. There's a difference between being strong and being like blue collar strong. I'm dead serious. There's a big difference. Yeah, you look at some dude, 135 pounds, soaking wet, and I'm here trying to like crank on a wrench or something. He just comes over and like taps it. I got a buddy that runs a plumbing company. We had to pull my well not too long ago. And I have never been more exhausted in my life. And this dude just gets up there and just fucking cranks this thing up. And he might be 140 pounds. Might be. Drinking porta potties in the oil fields of New Mexico. Blue collar born different. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I still think cardio might be an issue, but they have pre-boot camp, fat camp now. Do they really? Well, we kind of had that. I had that. Yeah, like the recruiter would do like this whole, once or twice a week thing where, he'd get everybody together and, make them work out. Grew up on a farm, it ain't even fair. Yeah. Yep. The Army purchased 400 trophy defense systems for Abrams. Yeah, I did actually. It's kind of one of those things that I've read and it's registered in the back of my brain. I've contacted your staff. Oh, the admin account. Yeah, nice, dude. Hell yeah. We'll get it. All the guys play games, to some perspective. Funker's a big DCS guy. Will maybe a little bit less so. Used to play a little bit of PUBG. Josh used to play a lot of PUBG. I want to say most that he games on now is like Foxhole. I obviously still have the gaming channel. What do you think of the U.S. Air Force? What is the USSF? Raising... What is that? Space Force? Oh, I forgot they existed. I'm sorry. They have a ranger now. That makes him a space ranger. That's dope. Raising the enlistment to 42. Don't care. Yeah, I had like a 40-year-old dude in our basic training, and he had a degree, so he was coming in as a specialist. Thought he was hot shit. I got in arguments with him all the time. And he was like, "I'm a specialist." I was like, "Not till you graduate basic training. You're not. Until then, you are a boomer. That's what you are." Trevor's absolutely amazing technology, like Iron Dome and small proximity. Is there like video of it working? I want to see that. Trophy system, YouTube. Trophy active protection system, saving lives since 2000. Let's watch this together. I will just use the gaming screen. There. That's fucking wild. I'm eating my banana. I think it's cool, man. A buddy of mine, one of the guys in my unit, he, as a civilian, he was a tank commander. Like, that was his MOS. Now I want to say he's a 35, like I am. He's all source intel now. But he was a tank commander, and his primary job as a civilian now is testing like the SEP 4 or SEP 5, whatever the most current iteration of the Abrams is. That's all he does, is he goes and he just shoots. And he was like, dude, in any given week, I fire more rounds than I did my entire time as a tank commander in the military. Like, as a civilian tank tester. I was like, bro, I don't know what I have to do to get a job with you. To do that, I will get you coffee every day if I can just get one round. I just want to I want to shoot one round out of a tank. And he had a whole lot of data that he wouldn't give me on, the M1A2s that went to Ukraine. I wanted some data. I was like, bro, what are they getting? He was like, I can't go there. But they route through him. And I was like, do we really only have like that one contract that all this shit routes through? He's like, yeah, actually, when it comes to Abrams, when it comes to tanks, yeah. I want that. Yeah, dude. Like, bro, my man, you need a trash getter after her? Because I'm going to be really good at that. Just give me one round, and I'll do that shit for 6 months. Merkava tank is legit. Yeah, I don't know enough about tanks. The Merkava, if I understand the Merkava, it's like smaller than, the rest of, than the tanks that we're used to talking about, like the Leopards, the Challengers, the Abrams. It's designed to be a little bit more nimble. I shot some cool stuff. I've seen cool things, but never being shot. Everything that I've shot is individual weapon system. Well, it's not, I shouldn't say individual, because that would really limit you at like the 249. So basically anything handheld I've shot of ours, except for the Javelin and the Carl G. I've never had a chance to shoot either of those. I've shot the AT4 live. I've shot every small arm that we have. The majority of the official stock of our foreign weapons I've shot. My unit maintains a stock of foreign weapons. That's why I needed to go to the armorers course for it, is I maintain all of them. So I'm our foreign weapons instructor. I'm also our PMI instructor. But I've never shot a Javelin, and I've never shot a Carl G. And both of those would be awesome. I feel like I'd pee a little shooting the Javelin, though. There's something about that booster, that just gets me every time. Every time I watch a video of it, I'm like, oh, fuck. Then it goes. Have you ever fired a mortar? No, I haven't. Yeah. Don't forget you missed. I don't want to talk about it. I didn't miss. I hit it. And it pinged off the top of it. Which of the foreigns was your favorite and which of yours? Which of the foreigns was your favorite and which of yours? I really enjoy, believe it or not, the MP5 is technically considered a foreign weapon. Like, it's one of those that I got certified on. That's fun to shoot. It's a whole lot of fun to shoot. The MP5 SD, with the suppressor on the front, that's extremely quiet weapon. The only gun that gets close to that is, like, in my opinion, which is probably not accurate, the VSS, extremely quiet gun, which is made out of sheet metal, by the way. It works, but that suppressor on the front of the VSS or AS Val is like sheet metal. That's all that is. But that was another one of the weapons that we went through. And then it landed in a kindergarten. No. It was an old lady's flower bed that my AT4 shot landed in. I've never shot the in-law. What do you know about the Iron Dome system in Israel? That the interceptor missiles for it cost around $70,000, and that's about it. VSS is a grail gun for me. Why, though? I just don't think it's that cool. Right? I from an applicability perspective, I don't see what makes it great. The 9x39 isn't all that great of a round ballistically. I don't understand. Flat steel and washers for the baffles. Yeah, it's pretty simplistic design. It works very well though. It's a very simplistic but very effective design. Most beautiful gun? I don't know. There is something about, like I've got a 1911 there, and there's something about the 1911, nice clean government model 1911 that just looks great. I think from a platform perspective, it's a little bit antiquated, I don't shoot it. It just sits there. It's right there. You can see it. I don't shoot it. It just sits there. Not loaded. Hammer's cocked. I don't know why the hammer's cocked though. You ever shot a 50? Oh yeah. I teach the 50 cal. Most beautiful Dragunov. Again, I don't understand. There's this whole niche thing around Russian weapon systems, the AK and the Dragunovs, and I just don't care for them. I don't care. Nope. Not any better. They shoot like men in a barn under most circumstances. Give it a slap? Yes. So when we were going through the armorers course, the day that they pulled out the MP5s, they rolled it out and they were like, okay, everybody come pick up your firearm so we can go through the block of instruction on how to, maintain it. And all you just started hearing was slap, 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 slap. That's all you heard for 20 minutes because they give you this time to fuck with it, you get to play with it, feel the trigger, feel how it's supposed to operate in working order. And just the whole time was just slap. I have not fired a G3 or an FNFAL. No, I haven't. What is takedown power? Video of the car turning around Austin Power style was loaded with weight riding low. I suspect a V-bid. Maybe. That's subjective, though. Maybe the suspension was shot. I don't know. Maybe there's a whole family in it. I don't know. We can try and add things into the probability for that, right? Which I can see that. I talked about V-bid specifically. But to say that for certainty is extremely difficult. You see a lot of that shit on Twitter, Twitter's kind of rapidly coming the place where I spend a lot of my interaction day, right? A lot of people have left, but a lot of people have kind of dove in, kind of full into Twitter. And I enjoy it. It can be a little bit cesspool-y at times, but a lot of attacking people for ideas rather than ideas themselves. A lot of gaslighting happens, but I just gaslight him back. It's fine. You're a pretty cool guy other than them shorts. Put you down power. 5.56 might go straight through and not eliminate a threat. Stopping power is a myth. What matters more is penetration and shot placement. Right? So if I shoot you in the face right here with 5.56, you are going to die. Yeah, so the FBI ruled out temporary or permanent wound cavities as primary neutralizers of threats years and years ago. And for those that say, well, no, it's just the FBI, that's the standard by which those same people then measure things like other ballistics. It is what 5.56 can absolutely kill people. Now, what you end up with is this discussion and argument between using things like M62. You can't lump all 5.56 into the same category. So you're going to have M62 green tips. You'll have 8.55A1 penetrators. You'll have 77 grain like OTMs, right? Big, hefty motherfuckers that absolutely will, you know, hurt you. Yeah. Nope, never shot an MG42. Eat the banana. No, I already ate the banana. No, I didn't. I went to eat it while we were watching that, but I got wrapped up in the video. All about placement? Yeah. Yep. The shorts are the best part. A55A1 go to? Yeah. So, I mean, we still qualify with A55A1, you know? But actually, what's the grant? M855A1. So here's the 855A1. It's got that penetrator on the front of it. But I want to know what the grain size of that is. Like, how heavy is that round? Wait. It's not lighter weight, is it? I don't know. A55A1 grain weight. 62 grain. Yeah. 62.6 grains. Constructed from 3 different components, a solid copper core, an exposed steel penetrator, and a reverse-drawn copper jacket. So on Sean Ryan's show, I don't remember who he was talking with. I think one of the guys from... it starts with a B. Benghazi. It was the contractor from Benghazi. They were talking about the necessity of running 77 grain, right? So all of my ammo store, like all of my Go ammo, is all either 75 or 77 grain, right? Don't really care to have A55A1. You know, if I'm up against an armored adversary of some kind, I'm typically going to be shooting for pelvic girdle, right? Putting shots in the pelvic girdle, you know, because the armor, or, you know, if I have that clear shot. I heard it eats up regular ARs. I've never fired it out of any of my other ARs. Military issues 55 and 62 to regulars and other stuff. Yeah, it's 77 grain OTMs. Why 77 grain over lighter? Well, so it's heavier from a kinetic energy transference perspective. You're transferring more energy with it. B, under most circumstances, it's going to be bow-tailed hollow point, which means it's going to typically fly better, right? So if you look at twist rates and you look at barrel length, the lighter you go isn't always the better, because what'll happen is the twist rate, if it's too light, it'll end up over twisting it, and it's going to be unstable at distance, right? 62 grain is probably like the minimum that you want if you want to be hitting within the 4 MOA standard of military of M4s. M4s that come out of the factory. Somebody correct me on all this shit if I'm wrong. M4s that come out of the factory are supposed to have a minimum of a 4 MOA standard, which is abhorrent, right? So 62 grain is probably where you want to stop for that. Relative to twist rate, barrel length. Now, if it's too heavy of a round, depending upon your twist rate and barrel length, it is not going to be able to stabilize that round, and you're going to run into the same problem. It's going to turn into a knuckleball. Thoughts on the brace shenanigans? It's stupid. A brace has nothing to do with the effect of... First of all, let's go way back. Let's go way, 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 way back. Way before the brace. None of it matters. None of it is going to make any impact on whether or not somebody uses it, whether we're talking about a brace or a bump stop. It doesn't matter, right? Because fundamentally speaking, What if I told you there is less of a gun problem in the United States than is talked about? What if I told you that when you remove all inner cities and suicides, that we are now like 183rd out of 100, or 180th out of 100, somewhere between 180 and 183rd out of 193 countries across the globe, right? Those inner cities that you end up removing from the equation have the strictest gun laws that you could imagine. So quite obviously speaking, the additional gun laws that you put in place to ultimately restrict the usage of guns isn't making any impact. And when you remove those from the equation, suddenly we're at the bottom of the pack for gun violence. Right? So that's where you ultimately have to start, is that it's not a problem we're actually having. It's a misunderstanding of how we approach being an armed society, right? Somewhere along the line, we forgot the fact that our country was founded with a rifle. We just threw that out, like as a society. We did. We pointed a rifle at the largest empire the world had ever seen, and we said, stop it. And they didn't. They fucked around, and they found out afterwards. We called some buddies from France, and France was like, okie dokie, or however the fuck they talk. Baguette, I don't know. They came in, and they helped out too. I get it. Yeah, sure. But we made those friends, and we made it happen. But we pointed a rifle at the largest empire the world has ever seen. Somewhere along the line, we forgot that. This is going to be really dweeby to say, but our culture is built around being armed. What would happen, rather, if we leaned into that culture? Right? What would happen if we took away the ability to have areas where we had soft targets? So somewhere along the line, we said it was okay that we could have our politicians protected by guns and our money protected by guns, but fuck the kids. They get one guy, one resource officer who may or may not, if you were to ask the courts, isn't necessarily required to respond. They get one guy. Right? So you got to take it back further than just, is a brace good or is it bad? Right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because whatever law you put in place on that is not going to make any impact to somebody that ultimately chooses to break the law to do that. It's not going to matter. Again, I'm stupid. Nobody said I was smart. I'm an ignorant American. We all die idiots. We are all idiots. All of us. You, me, my brother-in-law, we're all stupid idiots. The goal is hopefully to be less of a stupid idiot over time on as many things as possible. But then we die. We still die stupid idiots. And that's the end of that. We will die ignorant of more than you could imagine. But the goal is to just, over time, be less of a stupid idiot. The only thing that makes you American. Yeah, kind of, right? But then you get into these back and forths with people, on like the theory behind the Second Amendment. Well, they couldn't have known. It's like, okay, well, if that's the argument, they couldn't have known that we'd have the internet. And that means that your freedom of speech doesn't extend to your use of Twitter or your use of the town square, basically, which is social media. Right? Which in certain circumstances, the things that you post on social media are having, law enforcement show up at your door. I don't know. Ape together strong. The United States culture is a citizen soldier. Yeah. So I made a comment on Friday's show about, complacency. And a lot of people are pointing to the situation in Maine as like the easy button. See, they had constitutional carry and he was still able to do what he did. Yeah, that's because there's a whole lot of people that weren't armed when they had the opportunity to be. Like, and then you'll have people say, well, I don't want to walk around armed. Like, why not? It's no different than having a screwdriver in your belt. It doesn't matter. Firearms are so normalized in our home, right? We're about to have to go through the process of re-normalizing firearms because we have a baby on the way. But firearms have been normalized. You want to know why? It's because I sat there and I cleaned them with my kids. When they were like 3, I was like, hey, baby, can you hold this really quick? I'd hand them the bolt carrier. And she said, what's this, Daddy? And she'd be, fucking around with it. I'm like, that's called a bolt carrier, baby girl. Do you want to see how it works inside of this? Yeah, absolutely. We didn't do this whole, like, you can't touch that thing. Because then suddenly the curiosity peaks like, well, why can't I touch that? Right? Why can't I push that red button? We have normalized them top to bottom. Top to bottom. That's why it's sitting on the wall. Right? Now, they can't forever because then I have to go through the process of re-normalizing that with the new baby that comes, which we have finally found a name for. Took us until now. How American did compare a handgun to a screwdriver? What's the difference? All right. What's the difference between a handgun and a nail gun or a car? And before you say, well, you have to register a car. What if I told you I didn't think you should have to do that either? Right? What's the difference? And if I can't have it, right? All right. So let's take this and let's take it a step further. If I can't have it, who can? Well, police should have it. What's the difference between me and the police? Are you saying that the police are just better trained in the employment of their rifle than I am, or of their handgun, or whatever it is? What's the difference between me and them? They chose that job. I just didn't choose that job. I'm well trained. Very well trained. But they're not different than I am. Their responsibility is not my safety. My safety is not their responsibility. My safety isn't your responsibility, right? Yours isn't mine. My safety is my responsibility. All right, that might be cold, that might be callous, but that is fundamentally the point. That is that freedom. It is, right? It is not my responsibility to worry about your feelings. And it's not your responsibility to worry about my feelings and my safety. Right. Now, police officers and, first responders, they make that choice to take on the burden to come to people's aid where necessary. And that is something that should be honored. Absolutely. But ultimately, they're going to be minutes away when I only have seconds to make a decision. And I'm not going to be waiting for them to show up with their rifle before I employ my own. Can't shoot a rabbit with a screwdriver. Yeah, but you can't screw a screw with a gun, right? The equation is ultimately that they are both tools, right? So when you make that false equivalency like that, it kind of takes it beyond the argument. The argument is they are both tools with a specific purpose, and it doesn't matter if it is. I don't give a shit if it is a weapon of war. Like, yes, it is. The whole lost my guns in a boating accident thing is the dorkiest shit ever. I've said it once or twice in the past, but the more you think about it, the day that you have to deny that you have them is the day you should probably think about getting more of them. Right? I got all my guns. I got all of them. Every single one. I got 3 ARs, a couple bolt guns. I got some muzzle loaders. I don't have a lot. I have exactly what I need to a certain extent. It's just about a handgun in every room. But I got all of mine. They're not lost. I got all of them. When you have constitutional carry, people are going to be more likely walk around, are polite and nice to each other. Just saying. That's how, in theory, yes. But Maine is a constitutional carry state. right? So that's where the complacency comes in, right? How many of the people that were ultimately victims of, you know, somebody's mental health issue that chose to use a firearm as their tool to enact harm on others, how many people were armed in that situation that had every right to be otherwise? There was also a no guns allowed sign on the front of that bowling alley. And now how many people chose not to carry simply because of that sign, we'll never know. Yeah, like the whole argument over even the verbiage doesn't make sense. I don't think enough people understand like the sentence structure there. You know, it's different clauses, right? Just fundamentally, it says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, right? And change the law. Change the law. Then the problem that you're going to run into, though, is if you change that law, if you change the Constitution, that's when you're going to ultimately have the biggest problem, right? But as long as it says that, as long as that is there and in place, no other. To infringe is ultimately to slow or to impede, to get in the way of, right? So quite literally, anything that you do to wrap a process or law around that thing is fundamentally an infringement, right? Like, you just got to look at it bare-ass definitions. So then you need to, then what people ultimately and typically have to do is take that definition argument and say, okay, well, it's still a freedom that's being used to hurt people. It's like, okay, well, let's talk about the why, right? We talked about the statistics. If you were to break down those statistics, we have less of a gun problem in the United States than people will give it credit for, because ultimately it's the use of emotion to, you know, incite change. If you include these gun-free areas, which are going to be your inner cities, your Philadelphias, your DCs, your Chicagos, if you include those inner city areas, and then you also include suicides, that's the overwhelming bulk of the gun deaths in the United States. When you remove those, right, and you can't really make an argument that you remove them entirely, because, I mean, they happened, right? But if you do remove those, we end up like 180th out of 193 countries in gun violence. Is that the same conversation now? Or does that become a model? I don't know. Ronnie own anything with a Woodstock? Yeah. I got a couple. I got a Kentucky arm or Connecticut Arms muzzle loader. It's real cool. I like it very much. I've never actually shot it. It was my granddad's. Yeah, like why are suppressors banned? Why does that make sense? If any of you can give me an argument why suppressors are banned that makes sense, I will Venmo you $20 from my wallet right now. Because you can't. So I'm just gonna keep that $20. Like why are machine guns banned? If we've established, based on, you know, fundamentally, that any process or regulation surrounding arms, which extends to armor, it's the foundational word, right? There are states that are literally trying to ban owning armor. Okay. The actions of the few don't dictate, you know, the necessities of the masses. There's a better way to say that. You know, I'm drawing a blank on exactly how that phrase goes. But the terrible actions of the few should not, what somebody does 2,000 miles from me should not impact what my ability to do, you know, as an American is here. Again, those people's safety, this is callous, but it is the bare truth. Those people's safety is not my problem. My safety is not their problem. It's not. I feel terrible. I feel terrible that somebody who was in the system asking for help mentally was then released and ended up doing everything that he did. It sucks. Anyway. Suppressors make your weapon more safe, to be honest. To be honest with you, they should be handed out to people. Like, those should be a gift. Like, here, protect your hearing. You know, protect the environment around you from loud noises. You know, make your, typically, gun more accurate. Those should be, like, required items. To be honest with you, it should be a requirement. It should. I love Coleon. Yeah. Suppressors should be illegal because I have hearing aids. Suppressors and MGs are not banned. But yeah, if I said banned, you know, that was poor verbiage. There should not be any. I shouldn't have to pay $200 to own literally anything. Like, I just, why is there a tax on a constitutionally protected right? That is a barrier. That is an infringement. Why is there a tax on that? On the MGs more specifically than the suppressor, because if you think about it, the suppressor itself is just an attachment, right? But even then, that starts to unravel the argument even further. Like, okay, if it's just an attachment, why the fuck would we put a tax on that and a lengthy review process? Yeah, IK, I agree with you. And nobody's talking about it. We would all be mad we have to have a suppressed weapon. To be honest with you, yeah, that would be some shit, wouldn't it? You know? Like they're like, okay, fine, everybody has to have a suppressed weapon. And they're like, well, freedom. We're gonna bitch. The populace is gonna bitch. Like, it's just gonna happen. Right? But what we shouldn't have to do is bitch about something that is literally written in a document that is supposed to lay out the rights that we have at their bare bones. This is what you, as, you know, an American, are supposed to be able to do, have, and how you're supposed to be able to live your life. You know, anything that we put in place that gets in the way of any of these things, you know, should be illegal. But that's not how it works. What always gets me is that perspective is considered like an extremist perspective. It is. Plainly. Like, that opinion is considered, you know, on the far edges of extreme. How is that extreme? I don't want anybody to get hurt. I don't. Quit telling people they can't arm themselves. And literally giving people with mental health problems soft targets. Stop doing that. But then you have to fix the culture problem, right? America is an armed society. It was that way when we founded this fucking nation, and it should be that way now. Right? Guess what happened if the frontiersman was out there and didn't have his rifle? He's probably going to die. Someone probably did. I used to run a website called The Second Protects. So I've had like a couple different websites that, you know, I was going to do like a commentary, and I was going to blog and One of them was called The Second Protects, and the other one was called WeCarry.org. And I just never like paid enough attention to them and brought them to fruition. Are there so many more mental problems than 30 years ago? I think that's $1 million question. What has our society done to itself to lead people down such a mental strife? I don't know. That's a bigger question than I can answer. To be fair, frontiersmen died even unarmed. Yeah, that's what I said, though. Some of them probably died anyway. Internet, social media. Yeah, so I actually have this theory that I can't back up whatsoever, that the social media and their algorithms are like the root of all evil. I fully believe that. I talked about it a little bit tonight, the things that go viral in their extremities, right? So the extreme situation is what ultimately is going to be shown to millions of people, while the happy dog, well, you might get a viral video of a dog, but you know, the happy kid chilling on the front porch while his mom drinks some tea or something, you know, that's not going to go viral. So then suddenly what you end up with is you end up with these extreme situations that are being shown to millions and millions and millions of people, right? And the algorithm is going to refresh that because something crazy just happened, so we all want to watch that shit. Well, then the algorithm refreshes that shit, refreshes it, and sends it out to 1 million more people and 1 million more people, and then suddenly we're inundated with doom scrolling. That's what they call doom scrolling. To make things worse, then we solidify that doom scrolling by, you know, essentially continuing to do it, and you end up in an echo chamber. You don't even know you're in an echo chamber. So at the root of the problem of everybody feeling like things are going to shit, and you're not going to believe me, this is one of those situations where I'm going to piss off the other 50% of you. Things are not going to shit. What you're being fed is a social media algorithm. Go out to your local fucking farmer's market. Right? Yes, prices are a little higher than normal, but the real world isn't the world that you see on social media. These conversations, these like overly political conversations that we have, you know, on social media, you know, how do you feel about this? Like one thing, this, you know, single instance could be indicative of a much larger problem. Those conversations don't happen out in the real world. That's not how people feel about things. That's social media's algorithm spinning up things in their extremities, whether it be an extreme act that happens or an extreme idea. I can't prove this, and it's the kind of thing that needs data, but social media algorithms are the root of all evil. All of it. And I live and work on social media. I see it every day. Are you going to get new shorts for this channel? I mean, these ones are fine. You know, they're working out. Showing his CIA MK Ultra skills. What? $20 for a gallon of milk and a box of cereal. That sucks, dude. That's not what I'm paying right now, but you know, that I think that's like $5. Still not cheap. Certainly not. Those are good shorts. Yeah, they're comfy. I'm relaxing. Right? I'm not saying things are perfect, right? But if you were to scroll through Twitter, it's like the World War III starting tomorrow. You know, and we're all going to get nuked next week. You know, I mean, I'm not saying it's perfect. I think there's a lot of weird shit that's happening right now, but is that because it hasn't always happened, or is that because of the lens that we have now? Social media is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, yes, it does propagate. It propagates fear, 100%. On the other hand, it provides transparent lens. We have more transparency into the things that happen globally now than we ever have before. And as a society, this could actually even be a conversation that goes all the way back to, mental health. As a society, as individuals, we might be used to that kind of stuff. We might be more resilient than that. But as a society, are we? Are we as a society as resilient as we need to be to have something like a crystal ball lens that we have. I don't know. I know a lot of people that don't have a whole lot of resilience. I know a lot of people. A lot of people that are pretty feeble when it comes to, not freaking out. Thanks for the 10, that guy. What did you imagine people went through in the 1940s? Certainly. Imagine how difficult from a global situation that was to be a part of the decision-making process in government without, like, the level of intelligence and visibility from, an intelligence community perspective that we have now. I don't want to go down that path, but social media sucks. It does. Box of condoms, $20. Because of what should be producing. Do you know anything about the war in Myanmar? Yeah, we've been covering that for a while. We have a lot of it. We call them our communists. So if I were to go on the website to just the combat tag, most of this is going to be Myanmar footage. Yeah. Anti-junta forces defend against Myanmar army using home-built weapons. This is going to be Sudan, more Sudan here. More anti-junta. More anti-junta here. More. Yeah, there's a ton of footage from Myanmar. Right, your government can use your modem with AI and see inside your house? Yeah. Yeah. If you're connected to the internet, you have no privacy. If somebody wants to see what you got going on. So, I mean, some of you guys might be new to like my career, but I'm a cybersecurity guy by trade. Like that's what I did as a civilian before getting out of that to do what I do now. I have a CISSP, certified ethical hacker. I spent 15 years in cybersecurity. I stood up U.S. Cyber Command at NSA. Like I was there when we stood up our, closest thing to a COCOM that we have for the entirety of the cyber domain. I was at Joint Task Force Global Network Operations, and then we combined that with Joint Forces Combined Command Network Warfare to create United States Cyber Command. I got a little like plaque, I'm a plank holder for that. In naval commands, being a plank holder means that you were there for like the origins of it. Thoughts on Edward Snowden? Not really. From a certain perspective, there are absolutely things people, should know. From another perspective, there's placement and access that we absolutely need to have worldwide that he also burned. So like decades worth of placement and access into other nations. Right? There is absolutely this like shadow game that goes on behind the scenes that if we're not doing it, everybody else is. So we're behind the curve. And if you think that we don't need to be doing it, you're ignorant of how the war behind the scenes goes. We've been getting targeted by Chinese intrusion sets, so threat actors, since, I don't know, the early 2000s. Before that, the Google search you need to do to be able to go all the way back is APT1. Is APT1 going all the way back decades, right? And the things that they were targeting and doing, this is like one of China's PLA units. Yeah, Second Bureau of the PLA. That guy, thanks for the 2. When are you expecting the video player platform to change on the app? Yeah, Chad. So we're kind of, we tested another player not too long ago, and it went okay. It still had some functionality that we really needed to fix. So now we're going down kind of a slightly separate path, and it'll take us a little bit of time. You would enjoy Sandworm. It's a book. Okay. I mean, I purposefully got away from, cyber threat intelligence. That was my trade. Was at one time I was a China SME and a North Korean cyber SME, subject matter expert, but that would have been a while ago. But then I got into portfolio and program management, and essentially moved from cyber operations planning to like cybersecurity. So, cyber threat intelligence and cybersecurity might both take place in the cyber domain, but one is more oriented, in cyber defense or cybersecurity towards defending us from it. The other is more oriented a little bit towards understanding how it's being used against us. So I started my career in cyber threat intelligence and then moved my way over into cybersecurity. And then as an eventuality, made my way to be a program manager. And then ultimately stepped down from that to do work this stuff full time. But that's what I was doing up until like a year and a half ago. Yeah, actually last October when I filmed the big project. That was my career. Why do you think kids these days have more anxiety and depression than before? Because they're alienated due to the use of social media? Do I read? Yeah, certainly. Not as much as I'd like to. I find, because of the amount of live shows that I do and the amount of time live and then preparing for that and then also my Funker work, I've got a lot more going on behind the scenes than I think the live shows kind of bring to light. I wish I had a chance to read more. I do a lot of audiobooks now. I think those kind of help me balance the life with that, also being a dad. Any crazy stories from that line of work? No, not really, to be honest with you. But I left that line of work I was tired of like coming home and not being able to talk about it. At least the earlier part. By the latter part of the career doing cybersecurity, you're really just talking about firewalls, endpoint protection platforms, Threat Connect, stuff like that. So, there's no like real cool stories. There are organizations that are out there that are doing the same shit back to other countries that get done to us that I've had the chance to work with. Those are cool dudes, some really cool capabilities. Where I think things get a little weird is in the process of doing that, especially in, a domain that's as dynamic as like cyber, the internet. In the collection process, I, as an American citizen, can be sitting here and just choose to use like a foreign exit node to go and look at stuff. But then if we, from like a collection perspective as a country, are collecting on that exit node, since it's in a foreign country, suddenly they're starting to collect my data too. Right. So in the process of me trying to protect myself, ultimately I'm exposing myself. It's so much muddier than people think. I can tell you, whether you want to believe me or not, that at all levels of every organization I've been a part of, anytime, whether it was as a contractor or in the military, anytime the conversation arose of like U.S. persons' data, it was like jail time. Like that's taken very seriously. And people think it's like willy-nilly. It's absolutely not. You have any idea how much intelligence oversight training we have to do? How many conversations we've had to have, and how many layers of second checks and guesses on whether or not the data that we collected could contain or possibly contain U.S. persons' data. It's wild. So much time and energy around that. That's not necessarily to say there aren't organizations, especially from a law enforcement perspective, that aren't collecting that a little bit more willingly. But most people think that it's like the military and, you know, either Title 10 or Title 50 organizations that are just out there grabbing it. They're not. They're not. There might be some, you know, special access programs that are doing so, but your run-of-the-mill analyst is typically standing there with a gun at their head, just being told to be mindful of accidentally collecting, you know, U.S. person data. Did you ever hack enemy comms to find out? No, that wasn't my lane. No, so the early part of my career was threat intelligence, so it was understanding what was being done to us. The latter part of my career was very, very specifically, how do we shape our defenses to keep that kind of stuff from happening to us? Best thing about the internet, it's all there. Worst thing about the internet, it's all there. Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, I mean, you could go like from one website, you know, that's hosted here in the United States to like a Chinese hosted website overnight, or well, in seconds, like just seconds. Like you click something, you end up over there, and I don't know, maybe we're collecting over there or something. And suddenly, like your stuff ends up in that collection pot because we're collecting on a foreign entity, and it's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. Vape brand of choice, I don't care. I just use it for a nicotine delivery. You know, I actually prefer these nowadays, like the little the nicotine pouches, but I chew through them too damn much. Mainly, you'd be surprised. Yeah, so I mean, cool resource. If you guys are interested in like the cyber domain and stuff, cool resources to check out would be like Mandiant and FireEye report. Well, I don't think it's FireEye anymore. I think Mandiant just like bought that out. I think they're just Mandiant reports, or it's the other way around, one of the two. But there are a lot of open source resources that have a lot more data than you'd think on the type of activity that is targeting us. I mean, there's a reason that certain Chinese planes kind of look a lot like ours, you know, but they're not the only ones. You'd be surprised at who else is poking their noses around. You'd be real surprised. Like, what the fuck are you doing poking your nose in my stuff? You know, imagine your neighbor that you eat with every day. He comes over for dinner all the time. The kids know each other and they play together, and you guys have gone hunting together. Imagine them poking their nose through your belongings. Wild stuff. What's your cut on VPNs? I use Nord. It's not even running right now, though. I actually had to fire up Nord when we first started the Russia streams, or the Ukraine war streams, the combat footage show in its earliest iteration, which was really covering just Ukraine, because people were DDoSing my like home external interface. You know, if Tor browser is still secure, I would consider most of all of that to be secure from your run-of-the-mill threat actor. But I would say that if somebody wants to find you, they'll find you. Because your stream getting cut out. So what ended up happening is actually my fault. In the earliest days of the Funker stream, you know, it was kind of seat of the pants, and we were fielding like 4 million impressions a day. And what people started doing is DDoSing the Funker530 website. What would happen when they do that is Cloudflare would, which is where we have the website sitting. Cloudflare would throw up this, you know, warning that said, "Hey, we can't access the site," but it would, for some reason, show my IP address. One of the reasons that I go back to like full screen me when I'm changing screens and stuff on the show is to mitigate this problem. So what was happening is when the website would go down and the Cloudflare image would be up, my IP address was showing on the screen. Somebody grabbed that and they started DDoSing my router. I actually had to I got into it with my ISP because I had to get a new lease. I had to get them to change my external interface address. But the process to me getting there was like 3 or 4 weeks. So in that process, during that time, I actually had to run Nord to change my exit point. Right. Once I fired up Nord, everything was typically fine. But yeah, that was a whole issue. There are some that might remember that. Do you guys remember that? Those that were here for that? Japan built their own F-35, yeah. Love you guys. Don't be afraid to come hang out in the war zone. We have a fun bunker on the weekends. What does that mean? Do you guys have punch and cookies? I'm hungry. I haven't eaten dinner. You were here for it, Nick? Sick? Yeah. Yeah, it was wild, dude. It was wild. I almost stopped doing it entirely. Got to remember, I was still full-time doing cybersecurity, so I knew exactly what was happening. I was like, bro, not cool, man. Like, I was talking to Funker behind the scenes. I was like, my man. And he was like, kill it. Stop doing it. I was like, nah, I really feel like this is necessary. You know, let me see if I can put some mitigations in place to keep it going. Oh, yeah. Yeah. What information did they obtain? Well, you typically don't retrieve information. You know, what you do is, what it was doing was keeping me from being able to stream. It's kind of like you trying to talk, and instead of allowing your message to be delivered to whomever it is you're trying to deliver to, I just yell into your face so that you can't get your message across, right? Or into their face. Basically, I as a part of a distributed denial of service, and it would actually be like 10 of me doing that, I would be overloading the receivers, your receiver, that receiver, to the point to where it could not transmit or receive data. So it wasn't necessarily, I probably owned, I don't know, somebody's probably got all my shit. Again, if you're on the internet, yeah, it's a accepted risk. Yep. I run some pretty simple, you know, anti-malware, antivirus. I run Windows or Microsoft Defender and Malwarebytes. That's what I use. Thanks for the $2, man. Now that was well worth $4. I don't know what's that. Banana just keeps staring him in the eye. It's right here. Yeah. How can someone get into cybersecurity? What are the steps they need to take? I fell into it. So I was working in private security. And a buddy of mine from the military, they were hiring entry-level intel analysts to work in this organization called Joint Task Force Global Network Operations. And I was like, I'm way into that. Get me off this security desk, dude. Let's go. So I got a job basically doing data transfers. That turned into being a part of when Cybercom was stood up, I ended up ultimately as a shift lead for this US Cybercom J2 Jock Watch. So we were kind of, I would have been 21, 22, something like that. We were kind of like the first stop for any intel from, you know, globally on anything cyber. We'd have to deliver a 7 a.m. briefing. We'd compile a briefing for General Alexander. One of the smartest dudes I've ever had the chance to speak to and with. Every Tuesday we'd brief him, orally, rather than just the read book that we'd create daily. That watch is still there. I think pretty sure it's in the same spot. But I kind of fell into it, like sideways. And then I went down the path of, being at the strategic level type of intel to very tactical level, deploying or managing teams that were doing things like digital forensics. So my deputy program manager, who ultimately took over as the program manager after I departed for this to be my full-time job, she was by trade a digital forensics examiner, right? We would put people in jail all the time that were using like their government issued phones to sell drugs. Yeah, child porn was a big one. Yeah, we'd find a lot of that. Oh yeah, a lot of fucked up people, definitely. This is Snowden level stuff? No, this is easy stuff. This is Googleable, all of it. All of it. It's like someone sending so much junk mail to your house, or your mailbox is too full to receive your regular mail. Yes. Yeah, sure. Yep. I like the Bob and Alice one. Bob and Alice is one that's using crypto crypto a lot. Not crypto, like I'm getting rusty. Bob and Alice, right? Bob and Alice are talking to each other. I want to stop that from happening. So me and 10 of my other buddies yell really loud at one of them, so that they can't transmit or receive properly. That would be a distributed denial of service. A denial of service would be if I did it alone. But when you distribute that, if Bob or Alice were to shoot me in the face and I stopped, the other 9 of my dudes would still be doing it. That actually happens to the Funker site pretty regularly still. Any recommendations to avoid getting stuck as burned out L1 SOC analyst and transition from IT to cyber? Yeah, certifications, dude. What certs do you have? You know, your Sec Plus is really your barrier for entry. Don't rely on a company to be the one to send you to it. Go out and pursue it yourself. I pursued my CEH myself, and my CISSP. So I got both of them. CISSP is probably going to expire soon, though. I haven't done any keeping up with CPEs or anything, but I've had a CISSP since 2015. You have a Security Plus? Yeah, so I would attack something. I'm a little out of the game on what certifications that are out there right now, but you're always going to have these like subspecialties. Like if you want to stay in security analysis, maybe go and attack. What would be a good one? What's up, baby? What's up? Oh, hi, lovely. Mom's here. It's all right. Yeah, I'll turn it off. Yeah, I'm lost my train of thought. Certifications. I don't know. I had a weird path for certifications. I first got my CEH. Like I did the training for the Security Plus and I never actually took the certification for it. And then I went to CEH. I got that. That was hard as shit. I should not have done that. I should have totally gone with like A+, Net+, Security Plus, CEH. But I did. I jumped straight into it. I remember hacking like my wife's phone one time, using Kali Linux. And I put like like a malicious APK on there. And I was like, baby, here, open up your phone. She opened it up. I still got the phone. But I was just trying to basically gather as many skills as I could. And fast forward to like 2015, I moved out of like the intelligence community and into like the Homeland Security umbrella to do cybersecurity, like security itself. No more threat intelligence, no more cyber intelligence. I did cyber counterintelligence for a while, so like denial and deception. This is all on my website. That's why I say this is Googleable stuff. And when I got there, the position opened up for the program manager, but you had to have a CISSP. So I went out and I got my CISSP myself. Ever watch the old movie Hackers? Crash Override. Hell yeah. Of course. I'm an absolute nerd. I'm not afraid of it. I think it's Mama. Yeah, that was Mama. You need a college degree for better opportunities in cybersecurity? I don't have a college degree. I have about half of it, and my degree is in cybersecurity management and policy. I have about half of my degree done. I put it on pause when I got the program manager gig. They made an exception for me. I don't know how they did it, but the customer that I was working for, I was already a part of the team. They really liked how I managed my small team, so they wanted me to manage the bigger team. But I ultimately ended I wouldn't say it's ended, like I still do write a few papers for my old company, but I don't work on contract anymore. I don't have my degree. It's not finished. Is the CISSP relevant for more rank and file positions, or is it? I would say it's geared more towards managerial. In the 8570, the DoD 8570 is what most contractors are going to go off of, because that's going to dictate what each position is going to necessitate from a certification perspective. The management level for most technical manager positions is going to require a CISSP. So that could be a route that you choose to take. I chose to go more managerial, which was less money. Like if you stay in a technical field, in cybersecurity, a la penetration tester or digital forensics, cyber threat intelligence, those are all considered very niche skill sets. Those dudes were making so much money. So much money. I was paying my digital forensics examiners probably 30 to 40% over what my salary was. A lot of money in that. But I was too much of a generalist, and I still treat, every day like that. I treat the way the Funker stream works. I'm not an expert on any one thing, right? I was too much of a generalist to specialize, right? So I didn't go down the path of any specialization. I've done a little bit of pen testing. I always liked physical pen testing better than, digital pen testing, because, that's when you're testing, access control points, seeing if you can get past by piggybacking people, things like that. But that was always a lot of fun. That was the path I thought I was going to take. But again, I ended up down a managerial path. See you later, all things angling. You're an expert on shorts. I actually don't have that many pair of them. I got lucky that there was one pair left. Since I worked out in a pair earlier, I don't have that many pair of silkies. I really don't. It's just the paper, but cybersecurity degree helps get in. Yeah, as a hiring manager, that was one of the last things I looked for. I typically looked for certifications, and I looked for experience. And in the lack of experience, certifications, especially self-driven ones, were of priority, because not many of my positions required a degree. They required a degree and or equivalent experience, which are going to be dictated by like your customer if you're in government contracting. So degree was typically the last thing, and I could always get it waived, right? So something that hiring managers aren't going to talk about is the fact that, especially if they're on a government contract, most of the requirements can be waived for the right person. So if that program manager has a good relationship with their customer, they can absolutely get you on program if you're the right person for the job. Right? I brought in more people that didn't have degree, that were just absolute hot shit, and good people, than I brought in degrees. Sure, a degree can absolutely help you, but we are reaching a point in society and in that I don't think it's as necessary as it used to be. Right? People are coming out of college with like degrees in, basket weaving philosophy. And I think the corporate structure is starting to catch on how little that ultimately matters. Like, college will absolutely be optional for my kids. If you want to go, yeah, let's do it. But I will not force you to go. Right? Trade school, I think that'd be smart. Yeah, go learn to be an electrician. You have any idea how much fucking money electricians make? I should have been an electrician. Anyway, guys, I'm probably done. I'm probably done for the night. Thanks for the conversation. So again, all the stuff that we talked about tonight is Googleable. You just gotta search for it, right? If you wanted to talk about, Russian cyber activity, Google Russian cyber actor. You're gonna get Fancy Bear. That's the most common. The top 5 Russian cyber threats to watch. Easy. Right there. Bam. There's Saint Bear. Sandworm team. APT 29. There's so much data available on who's doing what, you know. There's a lot of cyber going on that doesn't get talked about enough between Russia and Ukraine right now, like defacing of bank websites. You know, there's a lot. CIS is a good resource. It's literally why they were stood up, is for this kind of stuff. Cyber threat overview and adversaries. This is good. Right here. Infamous Chisel. If you wanted to see Iranian cyber actors. Very capable. Much more than you'd think. So is North Korea's. It's all available. It's all out there. Anyway, guys, I'm done. I'll see you on no, I'll be over on the gaming channel probably tomorrow afternoon. It'll be earlier in the afternoon, so like, I don't know. Maybe 2 to 4, 2 to 5. No, I'm boxing tomorrow at 5. So I'll be live for a little bit tomorrow. I don't know what we're gonna play yet, but we'll see you over on the gaming channel. But then again on Thursday, and then again for the Funker show on Friday. Friday we'll be back to the gaming channel afterwards. But Chad, thanks for the $2, man. I'm out of here. Good night. Be good or don't. It's up to you. Wear your seatbelt. Don't run with scissors. Drink your milk. Bye-bye.
Good night, ladies. Good night.